It's on!
Hello everybody, it's on and it's time for another episode of Watching SWF. Let's see what's happening in the world of Total Extreme Wrestling. Supreme Wrestling Federation held SWF's 50th birthday spectacular last night in Connecticut. The show is getting fantastic reviews and the feedback has been awesome. The 50th birthday spectacular was held in Connecticut in front of 21,054 fans, and it achieved a buy rate of 2.51 on pay-per-view in both the US and Canada. Highlights from the show was Rocky Golden defeating Des Davids for the SWF World Heavyweight title and the return of Jack Bruce to regular action. After making cameo appearances last night, The Force, Bruce the Giant, and Kurt Laramie are gone from SWF. Hoss Hanley out injured. In unfortunate news, Hoss Hanley has confirmed that he sustained a dislocated shoulder while wrestling last night. He is now expected to be out of action for a few weeks. Last night, RIPW held Championship Battle 2022. Rhode Island Pro Wrestling held Championship Battle last night and drew 150 fans to Rhode Island. Feedback has been mainly positive, and the star of the show was Warwick Good in the main event where he defended his RIPW Championship title against Kingsley Christopher. Other highlights include Zarnell Zephaniah and Acid 2 defeating Froshore and Huracan Sandoval Jr. At last night's championship battle, a new tag team was officially brought together. Zarnell Zephaniah and Acid 2 will be teaming under the name Sick and Twisted, and the current plan is to use them regularly in the tag team ranks from now on. Another new tag team for RIPW is Danielle Sweetheart and Electric Dreamer, officially being announced as a regular team when they worked under the name The Amazing Bandits. They're expected to get a decent push over the coming months. Word coming out of RIPW's locker room is that Remington Remus has taken War Peace under his wing as his protege. Inside sources have reported that he has been passing on tips and advice. And finally, rumors are emerging from the RIPW locker room suggesting that Mean Gene Catley and Aaron Gray had an enormous bust-up last night, with their heated argument being the talk of the backstage area. According to some sources, there is a serious problem with their interpersonal relationship, and it's becoming bad enough that it's starting to sour the backstage atmosphere within the company. News for January 17th, new USPW locker room leader. Backstage sources have confirmed reports that Nikki Champion has been promoted to become an official locker room leader within USPW. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Supreme TV, presented by the Supreme Wrestling Federation. We are live in front of 97,000 fans here in Illinois State Park. But before we start tonight's broadcast, we have to show you what happened earlier today. Valiant and Hannah arrived to the arena and Scythe attacked Valiant and beat him down seriously. Hannah was forced to run to get help, leaving Valiant at the mercy of Scythe. We aren't sure of Valiant's condition, but we won't have our scheduled main event tonight. We hope Valiant makes a speedy recovery. Now let's take you ringside, and Rocky Golden comes out. Directly after Golden enters the ring, Remo's music plays and he walks down the entranceway. Last week, Rocky Golden successfully defended his SWF World title, and Remo won the 50-man birthday battle to earn a top contender spot. Rocky Golden says he welcomes the challenge Remo will provide at the main event, Nothing to Lose, and Remo talks about how he's beaten everyone in SWF, past, present, and future, to earn this title shot, and Rocky Golden is his last stepping stone to reclaiming the SWF World title. Des Davids' music plays and he enters the ring. He says to Golden that he may have lost the title match, but he deserves a rematch. Remo reminds Davids that it's his turn next, but Davids reminds Remo that he didn't beat him. Golden, the world title champion, listens on as Remo and Davids argue over who will be the top contender. In the end, Remo refuses to give Davids a match and tells Davids that he will have to win some matches to earn his spot. Then Davids issues an open challenge to anyone in the locker room. Supreme TV needs a main event and Davids wants an opponent. Mikey Lau's music plays and Lau looks on from the entranceway as Des Davids confirms that he's happy to take on Mikey Lau in tonight's main event contest. Let's go to some in-ring action with our first matchup. We have Gary the Entertainer taking on Rogue. Darren Smith calls for the bell, and we are starting this match off with some hard-hitting action. Both men try to beat each other down as they take the fight all around the ring. Things spill to the outside as Rogue tosses Gary the Entertainer off the apron, and he follows him down to get some cheap shots in. The referee tries to get the action back inside the ring. Rogue breaks the count, and eventually both men get back to the middle of the ring, where Gary the Entertainer holds his arm up for a test of strength, but Rogue kicks him in the gut and tosses him into the corner. The fight continues. Gary the Entertainer gets some shots in to keep this a decent match, but Rogue takes back control. Finally, he hits Gary the Entertainer with a crashing on, which ends the match just over 13 minutes with a pinfall victory. We're getting right into our next match, and we have Kip Keenan coming down to the ring to face off against Robbie Wright. There's the bell, and we are starting this match with Robbie Wright trying to avoid Kip Keenan. The All-American Kip Keenan is a decent technical wrestler with some good brawling skills, and Robbie Wright really can only hope to just keep up. Keenan goes for a grapple, but Wright slips outside the ring. Keenan gives chase, and Wright gets back inside, allowing him to take control when he kicks Kip Keenan as he climbs onto the apron. Rick Young calls for a clean break, but Robbie Wright takes a cheap shot. But as the fight continues, Kip Keenan takes control, getting Robbie Wright into a wrist lock, a chin lock, and other holds. Wright doesn't give up, but he doesn't have a whole lot of fight left in him. It looks like Kip Keenan is going to take the final blows to put away Robbie Wright, but Brandon James comes down to the ring and he is shouting something and it distracts Keenan. Keenan goes over to the ropes, and even Rick Young is asking what Brandon James is doing ringside. James seems to be threatening Kip Keenan over something, but it's really not clear what it is that James has a problem with. With Keenan distracted, Robbie Wright is able to get to his feet, and he hits Kip Keenan from behind. He's able to get the upper hand here and whip Keenan into the ropes. That gives him the opportunity to hit the right move, takes Keenan by surprise, but also allows Wright to get a pinfall with a handful of tights, and that's gonna be a 3 count. Robbie Wright wins the match. There's the bell and the match is over, but Brandon James is staring down Kip Keenan. James does not look happy as his manager Chrissy Angel runs out and gets between him and Keenan. Keenan gets away as Angel keeps James from following him through the entranceway. Robbie Wright is still in the ring and he has a microphone. He discusses the 50-man battle at the Birthday Spectacular and says if it weren't for Oliver Cobb, he would have won the whole thing. That doesn't really seem accurate, but while that seems unlikely, he has some unfavorable words for Cobb, even challenging him to come out of the ring and face him one-on-one. Cobb never appears, and Wright calls him a coward with no charisma before leaving the ring. Hey y'all, remember to like and subscribe, let me know what you think in the comments, and set your notifications so that you know every time it's on. Tonight starts our tag team tournament to find a top contender for the World Tag Team titles. Before the first match of the tournament begins, let's hear from the tag team champions, DomiNation. Damian Carville conducts a backstage interview with Adam Smasher and Bear Bukowski, the SWF World Tag Team champions. Adam Smasher answers Carville's questions about the team's domination of the tag team division as Bukowski looks on. Carville asks Smasher to make a prediction about who will win the tag team tournament and face DomiNation at the next pay-per-view, Nothing to Lose. Smasher says it doesn't matter. DomiNation will defeat whoever their opponents are, as Bear Bukowski gets increasingly angry until Carville ends the interview. So we have 2 of the 4 teams in the SWF Tag Team Tournament facing off to see who moves on to the final round. Our first team is made up of Ikuma and High Flying Hawaiian Crush. They're going to face off against Avalanche and Makutsi. And it looks like High Flying Hawaiian and Makutsi are going to start things off here. And as the action gets underway, High Flying Hawaiian is trying to move around the ring and avoid Makutsi's strikes while taking control of the match. Hawaiian is able to springboard into Makutsi and get that advantage, but it doesn't keep Makutsi down for long, and Makutsi is able to use a reversal to get control. Makutsi maintains control as he tags in Avalanche, and we have a real disadvantage here for High Flying Hawaiian, who isn't even 6 foot, going against the 5'9" Avalanche. Avalanche delivers serious blows to the back as he keeps control and prevents High Flying Hawaiian from tagging in his partner. The Hawaiian strongman is trying to encourage his partner to get over and make the hot tag. Avalanche is about to deliver a serious lariat, but Hawaiian Crush is able to duck it and get the tag in on Ikuma, who comes in and starts taking control. Makutsi is in the ring and he gets leveled. Ikuma goes back to Avalanche and starts beating down on the legal man here, but Makutsi hits Ikuma from behind, and there's High Flying Hawaiian from the top rope, getting a super drop kick right into the chest of Avalanche. That's not enough to end the match, but Makutsi gets tagged in to do battle with Ikuma. They go back and forth with heavy strikes. Neither one gets the upper hand, and Avalanche looks like he's trying to come into the ring for a double team, but High Flying Hawaiian is able to hit another high-risk maneuver to ensure that Avalanche is neutralized, while Ikuma is able to knock Makutsi on his back with the Hawaiian Crush. That's going to get him the 1, 2, 3 pinfall victory, and Darren Smith calls for the bell. Hawaiian Crush win this match and move on to the next round of the Tag Team Top Contender Tournament. The Rat Pack make their entrance to the ring, and it looks like Hollywood Bret Starr is back in charge after winning the North American title from Spencer Spade last Thursday at SWF's 50th birthday spectacular. In the ring, Hollywood Bret and Spencer Spade both discuss the end of their rivalry and make a promise to support each other no matter who holds an SWF title. Starr makes it known that he's back in the pack, but there's no leader. The Rats stick together and are all equal. Spencer Spade agrees and says that he hopes Starr holds on to the North American title for a long time while the rest of the Rat Pack win more gold, heavily implying that he's freed up to pursue the SWF World title. Primus Allen interrupts on a microphone as he walks to the ring. He says that he should be the next in line to get a North American title match. Hollywood Starr disagrees and says Allen will only get a match if he beats a member of the Rat Pack. Spencer Spade begins to say that he's already beaten Allen, but Justin Sensitive surprises everyone by challenging Primus Allen to a match. Spade reiterates that everyone in the pack is equal and gives Sensitive his blessing for the match. Bret Starr says that it's unfortunate that tonight's match card is full, which brings Eric Eisen to the ring. Eric explains that SWF Elite is premiering this Thursday and invites Primus Allen and Justin Sensitive to have their match then. That brings out Jerry Eisen, who has an announcement. Jerry says that Elite Wrestling is not an SWF sanctioned show, and that any matches have no consequences on title shots. Primus Allen says he doesn't care. Beating up Justin Sensitive will be fun anyway, and agrees to have the match on Thursday. At next week's Supreme TV, ZWB and Gilmore will take on the Awesomeness in the Tag Team Top Contender Tournament. But before that match, Gilmore and Stardust will face off tonight. And before that match begins, both competitors have some words for each other. Rick Young calls for the bell, and here we have a bit of a mismatch in styles. Angry Gilmore is a skilled technical wrestler, while Jefferson Stardust is a relatively flashy high flyer. And it looks like Angry Gilmore is trying to go directly after Jefferson Stardust and ground him. But Jefferson Stardust is too quick. He is not giving anything up, and he is moving around the ring as fast as he can to get hits in on Angry Gilmore where he can. Gilmore is certainly getting angry with Stardust not directly confronting him and taking cheap shots and running away. He has more experience than Stardust, but he definitely is a bit slower. With both of their tag team partners at ringside, Huey Cannonball tries to distract Angry Gilmore as soon as he gets the upper hand against his tag team partner. Cannonball is up on the apron. He's complaining to the referee, which prevents Angry Gilmore from keeping on that elbow lock. ZWB comes around to the other side and he pulls Huey Cannonball off of the apron. The referee is shouting at Huey Cannonball and ZWB, who are not involved in this match, and that allows Jefferson Stardust to rake the eyes of Angry Gilmore and get the upper hand here. Stardust uses that advantage to get some fast punches and kicks in on Gilmore's midsection. He whips Gilmore into the ropes, but Gilmore hangs on as Jefferson Stardust misses a drop kick. That gives Angry Gilmore control once again, and they both trade blows until Angry Gilmore is able to hit a clean anger management and get the 1, 2, 3 pinfall victory. Now we'll see which team will get the upper hand and move on in the tag team top contender tournament when Gilmore and ZWB face off against Unleashed Awesomeness next week on Supreme TV. But before that, Damian Carville conducts a backstage interview with Maddie Faith and Masked Patriot, better known as Faith and Old Glory. Carville asks about the tag team's loss against DomiNation less than a week ago. Faith and Old Glory are disappointed in their loss and confused as to why they wouldn't be included to compete for another title match. In the middle of the interview, Eric Eisen interrupts and tells Maddie Faith and Masked Patriot that they should all talk, cutting this interview short. Now it's time for our impromptu main event where Des Davids will take on Mikey Lau. This should be a good match as both of these competitors are at the top of the SWF roster, perpetual title contenders, and Des Davids looks to climb the ranks once again in hopes of getting another world title shot, as Mikey Lau really tries to do the same. Rick Young calls for the bell and this match is getting started. Neither competitor is able to get a serious advantage in the match. We see Mikey Lau taking control first, using his martial arts skills to take Des Davids down to his knees, but Des Davids is a tough competitor and he is able to fight back and get some licks in on Mikey Lau as well. Both men take a step back and a breather to reassess. They lock up again and Mikey Lau is able to twist Des Davids' arms, but that gets reversed. Des Davids tries to use a hold, but Mikey Lau uses some hard elbow strikes to get out of the hold, and that just makes Des Davids mad. Things look like they're about to heat up in this match as they trade punches back and forth. Mikey Lau tries to take control with some kicks, but Des Davids blocks and hits a hard clothesline to bring Mikey Lau down to the mat. Mikey Lau kips up and hits some hard strikes and whips Des Davids into the ropes. Both men go for a lariat and hit each other, making them fall down to the mat hard, and they roll out on opposite sides of the ring. Rick Young starts the count as both men try to get to their feet. Rick Young gets the count to 5. He gets the count to 6. And who is this? Randy Unleashed. He comes down the entranceway and he stands there staring down Mikey Lau. Just as Mikey Lau gets to his feet, he sees Randy Unleashed and he takes a step towards Randy. He doesn't even seem to realize that he is in a match and Rick Young has the count at 8. Des Davids is there at the apron looking on as Mikey Lau begins to follow Randy Unleashed back up the entranceway, and he's leaving the ringside area. Des Davids rolls into the ring and Rick Young has reached the 10 count and he calls for the bell, giving Des Davids the win, but it's not the decisive victory that he would have hoped for. So Des Davids wins the match on a count out, but he asks for a mic. He says that he will face anyone in the SWF locker room, and he still has an open challenge for anyone who wants to prove that they deserve a world title shot before him. Joey Morgan emerges from the entranceway and says he accepts the challenge and offers to face Des Davids right now. We're reaching the limit of our broadcast time, but it looks like there's about to be a fight. Just then, Eric Eisen comes out and he's shouting for Joey Morgan to stop. He offers to host this match on SWF Elite this Thursday, where the world can see who wins. Both Davids and Morgan agree, and their match is set for Thursday. Just as we have to go off the air, we'll see you in a couple days for SWF Elite. Hey all, remember to like and subscribe, let me know what you think in the comments, and set your notifications so that you know every time it's on. Total Championship Wrestling held TCW Presents Total Wrestling last night in Spokane, Washington, and drew 6,083 fans. Feedback from viewers has been excellent. They really struck gold with the show. Wolf Hawkins put in the star performance when he faced off against Masatoshi Kamimura. The show achieved a 3.49 TV rating with over 2.6 million viewers. T-Bone Bray added a new move to his arsenal, getting one of the best reactions of the evening at Total Wrestling. Last night, Supreme Wrestling Federation held Supreme TV in Illinois State Park and drew 9,785 fans. Feedback from viewers has been positive, with most enjoying the vast majority of the show. Supreme TV achieved a 3.46 TV rating with 2.5 million viewers. United States Pro Wrestling held USPW American Wrestling last night in Clover Fields and drew 10,696 fans. Feedback from viewers has been positive, with the MVP of the show being Running Wolf. American Wrestling had 11 million viewers on Reverie. Sources within USPW's locker room are reporting that there was a heated argument backstage between Texas Pete and Jumbo Jackson. Reliable witnesses say the ugly row has led to the two barely being on speaking terms anymore. Melody and Atlas. There appears to be tension between Melody and Atlas, with sources in the USPW locker room reporting that there was a huge row between the two last night. It's not known how serious the situation is, but it's being said that it's affecting the morale backstage within the company. CWA Championship Wrestling last night was held in the Gates Media Stadium and drew 6,480 fans. Feedback has been positive, with most having liked the majority of the show. The star of the show was Cameron Vesey, who teamed up with Ricky DeColt to defeat Thunder and Lightning. The show achieved a 1.47 TV rating and was shown on CBN. Sources within CWA are reporting that Sandra Shine and Sid Collier have recently begun dating. The relationship became common knowledge at last night's show. Injury for Luke Kane. Early reports are saying that Luke Kane has been injured, sustaining a strained rotator cuff during a match last night. He apparently left the ring under his own power, and it's not expected that he will miss any dates. Rhode Island Pro Wrestling held RIPW Uprising last night in Rhode Island and drew 65 fans. The feedback from viewers has been mainly positive. The company has won many friends. The MVP of the show was Zarnell Zephaniah, and the show had a total of 9,529 viewers on WrestleWorld. RIPW launched a new tag team into the scene last night, as Fuyuko Higa and Joy Ryder were officially announced as being a regular team. They will be working under the name Darkness Rising and are expected to get a decent push over the coming months. Word coming out of the RIPW locker room is that Rocky Weatherfield and LA Star 2 are now a couple. Inside sources have reported that they have been spending a lot of time together. Welcome everyone. Thursdays are Elite and Thursdays are for SWF Wrestling. We are live in front of 9,000 fans at the Minnesota Coliseum for the very first SWF Elite. On tonight's show, we will have a tag team matchup between Swagger Incorporated and the Dallas Cowboys. We'll also see Oliver Cobb in action when he takes on James Prudence. Primus Allen looks to get his revenge on the Rat Pack. And in our main event, Des Davids takes on Joey Morgan. Now to start the show, let's go to the ring with Eric Eisen, the Elite owner. Eric Eisen opens the very first SWF Elite with an in-ring promo. He says he put this show together on his own without the help of his brother Jerry. Eric says that while Jerry wants nothing to do with this show, Eric can still pull some strings backstage even if he's not on the booking team anymore. That's why he's giving matches to Supreme Stars who need opportunities like Primus Allen and Des Davids. He's also running a counter bracket for the Tag Team Top Contender Tournament. Faith and Old Glory, Fame and Money, Swagger Incorporated, and the Dallas Cowboys were all dismissed for their Supreme Tournament, so Eric is allowing them to compete on Elite to prove their worth. He hopes that his brother Jerry will recognize these matches and have an Elite vs Supreme final in the tournament. Then Eric announces the two teams that will compete first. The first matchup on Elite is going to be Swagger Incorporated versus the Dallas Cowboys. First, Eric Eisen brings Swagger Incorporated to the ring. Mainstream Hernandez and Dominic D'Souza have never been tag team champions before. And next, their opponents, the Dallas Cowboys, Marshall Dillion and Ranger, who have held the belts once before. Rick Young calls for the bell, and this match begins with Mainstream Hernandez and Ranger kicking things off. We have Ranger taking control in the early part of this match. Let's take a look at how the brackets turn out. If we include the SWF Elite side of the tournament, Ranger and Marshall Dillon are just brawlers, and Mainstream Hernandez is taking a beating. He's able to duck a swing and put Ranger in an armbar. Ranger punches his way out of it and makes the tag to Marshall Dillon, who brings the fight back to Mainstream Hernandez right away. Hernandez is in a little bit of trouble until he's able to springboard and moonsault off of the ropes and knock Marshall Dillon down. Mainstream Hernandez is able to make the tag to D'Souza while Marshall Dillon tags in Ranger. D'Souza and Ranger are brawling in the middle of the ring. D'Souza goes down to the mat, but Ranger lets him get up, and D'Souza offers a test of strength but rakes the eyes, and that's going to change the momentum towards Swagger Incorporated. Hernandez gets tagged in and goes to the top rope, missile dropkick on Ranger, and Ranger's in trouble, but he is able to get a tag to Marshall Dillon, who takes down Mainstream Hernandez and Dominic D'Souza. It looks like the tide may be turning in this match. The crowd's really getting into this one as Marshall Dillon beats on Hernandez, but here comes Steven Parker and Kristen Pierce down the walkway. They're ringside now, and Kristen Pierce is pulling Ranger's attention away. He's telling her to leave and go backstage, while Steven Parker goes around the ring and Rick Young turns his back to tell Kristen Pierce to get away from ringside. He's throwing her out, but she's taking her sweet, trying to leave, giving Steven Parker the opportunity to pull Marshall Dillon out of the ring, smash his head into the post, and roll him back. Mainstream Hernandez is already on his feet as Marshall Dillon tries to recover. As Kristen Pierce turns to go backstage, Mainstream Hernandez hits Marshall Dillon with Apparition number 14, and Dominic D'Souza pulls Ranger off the apron. Rick Young makes the 3 count and calls for the bell. It looks like Swagger Incorporated wins the match and moves on in the Tag Team Top Contender Tournament. Earlier today, Eric Eisen interviewed Joey Morgan about his main event match tonight. In a backstage interview with Hannah by his side, Eric Eisen asks Joey Morgan about his match tonight against Des Davids in SWF Elite's first main event matchup. Next, Eisen questions why Hannah is at his side. Both Hannah and Morgan explain that while Valiant is recovering from the injuries he sustained earlier in the week before Supreme TV, Joey Morgan has promised to protect Hannah from Side. Let's go to some more in-ring action. James Prudence makes his entrance and asks for a mic before his opponent comes to the ring. He mouths off about being suave and how he's going to take over this new SWF television show until they change the name to Platinum. Oliver Cobb makes his way to the ring. Shane Stones calls for the bell, and it's time to start the match. Both of these competitors are feeling each other out, trying to get the upper hand with some hip tosses, some wrist locks, leg takedowns, and quick strikes where they can. But the action goes back and forth in the ring and even spills to the outside, where James Prudence is able to get the upper hand by whipping Oliver Cobb into the stairs. The referee is trying to get the action back inside. James Prudence rolls in to break the count and stomps on Cobb to maintain his advantage. Prudence looks to whip Oliver Cobb into the barricade, but Oliver Cobb reverses it and James goes hard into the steel. Cobb breaks the count and returns to the outside to roll Prudence into the ring. Oliver Cobb is slow to make it to the apron, and that gives Prudence the opportunity to knee him in the midsection and then pull him through the ropes. Prudence tries a submission hold, which gets reversed. Cobb has James Prudence locked in, but breaks the hold when Prudence is able to reach the ropes. The action picks up the pace as both men whip each other into the ropes. Oliver Cobb looks like he's slowing down, and James Prudence takes advantage. He turns Cobb over with a vicious power slam and then a swinging neck breaker as soon as he gets to his feet. James Prudence is mugging for the crowd as he raises his arms while standing on the turnbuckles in the corner. Oliver Cobb is on one knee. It looks like he's winded, and Prudence signals for the Prudential Pain Plan, but Oliver Cobb takes James Prudence down with a tight roll-up for 1, 2, 3, and that's a victory for Oliver Cobb with a flash pinfall just over 15 minutes. Prudence is shocked and he rolls out of the ring, and after winning his match, Oliver Cobb stays in the ring while Eric Eisen enters with a microphone. Eisen asks Old Fastball to respond to Robbie Wright's comments on Supreme TV earlier this week. Cobb says he has no response because he's worried about more important things. Cobb says Robbie Wright isn't charismatic, he's just a goofball, and he's just mouthing off. In another pre-recorded interview, Eric Eisen is backstage with Des Davids to interview him about his upcoming main event match with Joey Morgan and the brewing feud between him and Remo to be the SWF World Title top contender. It's time for our next match, and this should be a fun one. Justin Sensitive comes to the ring first, and he's all by himself. I guess the Rat Pack expects that he can handle things on his own, but Primus Allen comes to the ring, and he looks like he is ready to put a beat down on Justin Sensitive. There's the bell, and Primus Allen goes to work right away. He knocks Justin Sensitive to his back with one punch, and he keeps Justin Sensitive down on the mat. Looks like he can make quick work of Sensitive, but Sensitive is able to get to his feet when Rick Young gets in between Primus Allen and his opponent. Justin Sensitive bounces off the ropes, and he hits Allen with a punch that doesn't move him one bit. Primus Allen is just staring him down as Justin Sensitive shakes his hand in pain, and Primus Allen goes right back to work. He picks up Justin Sensitive and hits him with a running power slam. It looks like he's ready to end things here. Paul Huntington and Monty Trescarde come into the ring and just attack Primus Allen. Rick Young calls for the bell immediately. That's a disqualification win for Primus Allen, but Fame and Money attack Primus Allen, causing a DQ, and it looks like they're out here just to hurt Allen. Things don't go their way as Allen catches Monty Trescarde with a flying lariat and Paul Huntington with a running power slam. Justin Sensitive is on his feet and he takes another running power slam, and these three members of the Rat Pack flee from the ring. Hollywood Bret Starr and Spencer Spain are out in the entrance stage now, but Hollywood Starr stops Spade from running in. Primus Allen is looking powered up and unstoppable. There's no way this is over for Allen. We get a look at the new Supreme workout video hosted by Supreme star Kip Keenan. This is the first part of this series, a preview of the aerobics routine. The video features several of the top stars in SWF following Keenan in an aerobics routine. About halfway through, the camera angles get quite risque. We hope you're not watching with mom and dad. Hey all, remember to like and subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments and set your notifications so that you know every time it's on. It's time for our main event, and Joey Morgan comes to the ring accompanied by Hannah, who he has promised to protect while Valiant is on the mend. Des Davids comes to the ring and he definitely has something to prove. The referee calls for the bell and we get things started here with a brawl. Both men beat on each other trying to get the upper hand, but neither one gets an advantage and things slow down a little bit as both opponents try to feel each other out. We know Des Davids isn't opposed to taking the easy way out, but Joey Morgan is a veteran competitor and he knows how to make sure he stays in the match even if Des Davids decides to cheat. We see Des Davids lock Joey Morgan into a Boston Crab, but when Joey Morgan reaches the ropes, Shane Stones asks Des Davids to break the hold, and he does. He lets Joey Morgan get to his feet, wanting to win a legitimate match here, but that might have been a mistake because as the action heats up, Joey Morgan gets the advantage and he has Des Davids on the ropes, in the corner, and on his back with slams and takedowns and submission holds. Des Davids is able to wriggle out of all of them, but it looks like Joey Morgan is wearing him down. Just then, we hear Hannah scream. She sees Scythe at the entranceway, staring at the ring. It looks like he's waiting for an opportunity to get to Hannah or Joey Morgan. He might interfere in this match. We don't know. Joey Morgan turns and points at Scythe, telling him to get backstage. He can have his chance another night, but that gives Des Davids the opportunity to roll up Joey Morgan and get the pinfall victory. Des Davids was on his heels, but he's able to get the win with a fast roll-up, and he exits the ring immediately. After beating Joey Morgan clean in the main event, Des Davids rolls out of the ring and walks up the entranceway in celebration as Scythe looks on. Des Davids lets Scythe walk past him as Hannah tries to help Joey Morgan get up as Scythe approaches with a menacing stare. The referees try to turn Scythe away, but he enters the ring and Hannah screams. Joey Morgan's attempt to fight off Scythe results in a choke slam. Morgan is too exhausted from fighting his match and is quickly neutralized by Scythe, who turns his attention to Hannah. Hannah's crying in the corner when Des Davids runs back down the ring. Him and Scythe go at it, pounding on each other until Davids tosses Scythe to the outside. Des Davids makes sure Hannah's okay and checks on Joey Morgan as he makes sure Scythe leaves the way he came. That'll do it for Elite Wrestling on this Thursday. We'll see you on Tuesday for Supreme TV.